Hello, everyone. Um, we're just gonna do story time. So for those of you that don't know me, I have worked at four jobs. Yeah, we're gonna say four jobs. Um, and every last one of them have been excruciatingly terrible. Okay, so right now I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna tell you guys the names of these jobs or not. You know what? I don't think I'll tell you guys the names. I'll tell you the names of the people that I worked under, but not the places. Okay. So we're gonna start off with the first job. This is gonna probably be like a multi-series type of thing. First job, first boss. Name was Rose. Rose is really kind. She wasn't always there at the job. Like she was always on vacation, and I'm still trying to figure out how on earth were you able to afford that many vacations on a boss, like on a coach's salary slash sales floor manager or anything like that. Um, but she was hardly ever there. So if you ever needed to speak to her, you couldn't because she was hardly ever there. Like taking a vacation every other week. So you could not find this lady even if you wanted to. Now, it's not a story about Rose. That is her name. I don't remember her last name, nor do I care for it. Then you also had the store manager, Luz, if I'm not mistaken, was her name. Me and her, we were like this, but never like this, you know? Um, like she she didn't like me per se. Like she didn't like me per se, but she didn't hate me either. Um, But I will say that me and her were not the greatest. Like we weren't the best, but we weren't the greatest either. One thing she did after I had already told her that I need to be off before like 11 or 12 because while I was there, I was there for 8 hours for my first job, which is pretty good, especially when it's your first job and you're basically getting full time benefits, but not a full time employee, right? Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, um, so one night I was telling her that I'm off at 12, which she knew. So we're talking, and then I go off to go finish organizing my area because for some odd reason they thought it was an okay thing to do this, where all the people that have been there longer would all be off at 11, and so they would leave one person in apparel by themselves, which was me. It was always me. And since I didn't really know what I was doing in apparel because they always put me in the shoes section or the jewelry section, but they were together. So I always had those two parts together. Um, I didn't really do any of the other folding because that's all I had. I only had keys for the sunglasses and the jewelry stuff, but not like the jewelry section, like the fake jewelry. Um, uh, and so I was like, okay, well, I'm off at 12, and they didn't like to pay for overtime, like whatsoever. No job does, but this specific place said we are more than likely not going to pay you for overtime. So I said, why on earth would I be here longer if you're not going to pay me to be here longer? That doesn't make any sense. Plus, I've already reached my 8 hours. After that, it's really just overtime, right? Okay, so I'm talking with Luz, and when I go back over to my area, she goes, "Hey, can I have you organize the entire pants wall?" The entire what wall? The entire pants wall? Uh, that's not my area. I didn't ask if it was your area. I'm just telling you, can you organize it? The way I looked at her like, girl, you crazy. You want me to do that whole thing by myself? Like, mind you, it was a long wall. It was so many pants on that wall. She wanted me to take all the pants down and refold them. I was the only black person on the night crew. There was no one else. It was just me as the only black person there. And when I told her, I looked her dead in her face and I said, no, I'm not doing that. The way I was so bold just to say, I'm not doing that to the store manager. She looked at me like, I know damn well. She looked at me like, I know damn well you did not just say that to me. And so I turned around to go finish doing what I was doing. So you just see me just like putting shoes back in the sections, making sure it's all organized and numbers because that's how they wanted it. They wanted it very specific. She calls me over and I turn around and she's doing this. And so I walk over to her and she goes, what did you say to me? And I go, I said I'm not doing that wall because one, I'm by myself, and two, I still have a fully another area to do. Plus, you guys don't play for overtime, nor do you guys want to do overtime. And she goes, well, we're gonna pay you for overtime. Mind you, my grandmother is already outside waiting for me because she wouldn't let me take the car at the time, but now that's like a different story. Um, she was already waiting in her car as tired as she already was. Like she goes to bed at 8. It was 12. She was up way past her bedtime. Okay, and she wouldn't let me drive home because it was 12 at night when there's no one on the road. Um, and Liz, that's her name, Liz. She says, "Well, we're gonna pay you for the overtime. We don't want to, but we have to." And I go, "Well, think about it like this. I'm not gonna make my grandmother wait any longer than she already has to. In what world does that make any sense to you in this one? Because we're going to need someone to open up the store tomorrow." And I go, yeah, but that's not my problem. That's for tomorrow. I'm not the one that has to open, I'm the one that has to close. Okay. She goes, she was like, she was genuinely losing her mind because at the time I was like 18. So she's like, this little kid, I'm still as tall as I was then. She goes, this, she's basically like, this little kid is talking to me like I'm one of his friends. And I'm like, no, I'm not talking to you like one of my friends because I wouldn't talk to my friends like that. I'm talking to you like you are crazy and I'm not going to do this stupid work that you want me to do by myself when you should have told someone that was there at 11 o'clock. What makes you think I'm going to do that by myself? Help it make sense. Mind you, this is all just the first job I've ever worked at. And this is just one story of many. And when I told her that I was not going to do that, period, she was like, okay, I remember that. And I said, good. I hope you do, because I'm not doing it. I then proceeded to clock out 20 minutes late. Yeah, she told me at 9:40 to fix the entire wall instead of when the store had closed. Sorry, 11:40. So then I think like 2-ish weeks later, she ended up being transferred over to a different store because she got a promotion. Never heard from that lady. Saw her again at a different store. Same store, but like a different area. And she did not recognize me. Safe to say she didn't.